Hello everyone and welcome back to One Bag One World. Today we are talking about not stuff that goes in here, but rather things that go in here or in your phone. And this is extremely important in a video we've wanted to make for a while. Welcome to your digital packing list. Now before we jump into this, if you could just go ahead and click that like and subscribe button, that would be extremely appreciated by us. You know, one click for you means nothing. For us, it means the world. It helps us grow. It helps us provide this great content for you guys. So if you're enjoying it, please click those buttons. For anyone who's returning and has already subscribed, thank you so much for watching us. Let's get into it. So before we actually jump into this, I just want to say this bag real quick. This is the Tom Bin Cynic 26 liter. This is actually coming out in December. We've got a review coming on that. So if this is something that you're interested in, stick around and this will be coming out later this year. Now today we want to talk about your digital packing list. And I don't mean digital nomad. There's a subtle but important distinction there. I'm talking about things that you want to pack in a digital manner. Things that aren't physical items, although some of these are, but that aren't things that you're gonna find at your favorite travel retailer. So these are things that are extremely important, and after over a year on the road, things that I will never leave home without. So jumping right into it, the first off is NordVPN. And really you can use any VPN, but Nord is my favorite and the one that I've used for over the last 5 years. So this isn't something that I just picked up for traveling. I used it for a long time for personal and professional work. Now, why do you need a VPN, right? A lot of people don't seem to understand why. We connected to over 200 Wi-Fi networks, most of those public, most of those probably unsecured networks. This means that anyone who's somehow intercepting your traffic can gain access to all of the information that you're sharing on the web. Now, having a VPN just helps encrypt that traffic. It hides your IP address, and not just that, it can also be for entertainment purposes. Lately, we've seen a lot of companies restrict content based on the IP address that you're coming from. By being able to change the IP address that you're coming from, by maybe changing your VPN to, let's say, connect to a Turkish network, then you're able to access that content. Now, this was extremely helpful as we were bouncing around between countries around the world. Now, there are a lot of things you can do to protect your identity, but a VPN is absolutely step one in my mind, especially on the web. We lead increasingly larger digital lives these days, and having a VPN is like locking your front door. Could not recommend NordVPN enough. Used them all over the world, never had any problems, and they were fantastic. So NordVPN, that's number one. Number two, Airalo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think I might be butchering it. Now this is an eSIM. Now this was extremely beneficial for us because sometimes we wanted to be connected right when we landed, or we were gonna be in a place for just a short stay where it didn't really warrant buying a local SIM card, which we did a lot of. Sometimes these SIM cards were way too expensive to warrant buying. Sometimes it was a little too difficult to get. So in those instances, I was able to open this app on my smartphone, quickly sign up for a SIM card from that country, and then basically once I landed, I just turned on that eSIM and I was connected to the network. This was extremely useful. Probably one of the biggest uses that I got out of it was actually when I was traveling through Europe. Now, some people would say that you could use something like Google Fi, or you could just go roaming on your current plans. If you were just doing short-term traveling, that is great. However, a lot of these roaming plans in Google Fi, they need you to ping a US cell tower once every 3 to 6 months. If you do not do that, you get cut off. So for us, that wasn't an option. We weren't gonna be back in the States for over a year, and this allowed us the opportunity to keep connected even though we were moving between a lot of countries very quickly. So for example, in Europe, this gave me access to over 39 European countries on one eSIM. That means I had data wherever I went over the course of 3 months, even though I did not have a current telephone plan. This was incredible. It was incredibly easy to set up, and you get money back for your purchases, which actually helped us continue to buy more SIM cards as we went on. And it's so easy to set up. Do not let it sound intimidating. They were fantastic to use. I couldn't recommend them enough. You should definitely get this app on your phone. Check it out. Number three, this is a big one. Travel insurance. It gets talked about all the time. What happens when stuff goes wrong? Now, obviously, it's not maybe the first thing that pops in your mind. You don't think about all the disasters that are going to befall you on your vacation, but it is something very important that you need to be aware of, and you need to have a plan in place. Now, for us, this meant SafetyWing was our savior in this space. What we needed was not just travel insurance, which you can nowadays get through a lot of credit cards, or if you book different types of pre-planned trips, they'll often offer it. This was travel insurance as well as medical insurance, what they call nomad insurance. Now, this was extremely important to us because we were no longer going to be covered by any healthcare plans, and we were going to be all over the world. So having that peace of mind that if something were to happen, that we could go to a doctor and we could get taken care of was awesome. And it was extremely easy to sign up for. The interface is not intimidating, it's not clunky, it's very smooth, very streamlined process. And one of the other added benefits was we started traveling right after COVID kind of started to end. And our first stop was Iceland. And at the time you couldn't go to Iceland unless you had a certain type of insurance that guaranteed you, I think, for up to $100,000 in case you got sick with COVID while you were in Iceland. So for that, you needed a visa letter basically from your insurance. And this is a common occurrence that you'll find around the world. Certain countries will not let you in or will not grant you a visa unless you have a certain amount of health insurance. To do this from this app was literally 2 clicks. I logged into the website, I clicked up at the top under my health insurance plan, and I clicked visa letter. I typed in the country that I was going to. It wrote up this beautiful letter, said I have these types of coverages. I was able to download that as a PDF. I sent that in with our application. We were instantly approved. That is probably the biggest benefit. It was so easy to do that. And we never even had to use the health insurance portion of it. So I can't actually tell you what it was like, just that it was extremely useful. Anytime I had questions, they were always eager to help and answer them. And the visa letter approval was amazing for me. All right, number 4, these are hotel booking applications. Now, this shouldn't come as a shock, but there are some that I wanted to specifically call out because they were extremely beneficial. For all of you penny pinchers out there or people who prefer the hostel environment, Hostelworld is obviously a big one. The other one is Agoda. When you are in Asia, this is an extremely useful and massive platform out there. You can often get great deals for very cheap prices on Agoda when you're traveling around that part of the world. Love Agoda. They also have a good rewards program where they kind of give you kickbacks. Speaking of kickbacks and reward programs, we almost exclusively use Booking.com because of this reason. It was very easy to meet like their top tier membership thing, just due to the amount of stays that we were doing. We could filter by things like free cancellation, which was extremely important to us because sometimes we'd book a couple places if we weren't exactly sure where our plans were going to take us, just to reserve them. And then we had free cancellation up until 24 hours before, so then we could then get rid of the ones that we weren't going to be at. Some properties were eligible for like their kickback program, which means that as you spend money on their platform, a certain percentage of that gets put back into your account. So over time, this actually added up to a substantial amount of money. I want to say like hundreds of dollars. It provided us to use on other stays. So we stayed at tons of really nice places, some of them for free because of the amount of stays that we book through Booking.com. And in today's day and age, with Airbnb being so popular, they are often more expensive, especially with these added, hitting cleaning fees and taxes. Oftentimes you'll see a great price and then you go to check out and it's like 2-3 times the price. So I actually found hotels to be much cheaper. So it was much easier for me to go to Booking.com and just book all of my stuff through there. Not to mention, then I could go to my trips. I could see past stays. I could also see where we were going to stay, and this was great for going through customs because I could open up the app, find the address of my hotel because it often asks you, and I could put that on the immigration form with no problems. Number 5, okay. The next two, just the next two are for our North American friends, actually, I think. The first one is Charles Schwab High Yield Investor Checking Account. This thing is amazing. So it's an investing account, but you actually don't need to do any investing. But what you get is you get this amazing debit card that has no foreign transaction fees. That means as you take out Thai baht, for example, you're not paying any sort of conversion fee on top of that. It's phenomenal. The other one is that there are no ATM fees. Now that I cannot overstate enough. I've traveled with people where they're like, okay, I'm here for a month. I should just try and pull out as much money as possible in as few times as possible so that I don't eat all of these ATM fees, which a lot of the times we saw were between $5 and $10 around the world. That is insanely expensive. And when you're traveling, your money should be going towards the experiences that you want to have and not towards a big bank making some money. So this debit card refunds all of your ATM fees. So you will pay those fees, you just accept it as you go along, and then you'll see them back in your account. This thing is amazing, worked absolutely all over the world, had no problems with it, and it has served me well. I found out about this in 2013 when I first went to Asia, and I've used it ever since, and I will never leave home without this card. Get this card. It will just make your life so much easier when you're dealing with cash in some of these countries. Speaking of cards, another thing that I want to talk about is a travel rewards card. These are so important, and you hear them all the time, especially from these big influencers talking about travel hacking. Just get a travel credit card. It's not that complicated. Sign up for one of these cards, get approved. Our personal favorite, I'll link below, but it's basically the Chase Sapphire Preferred, one of the best reviewed cards in the space. We put these ultimate rewards points to such great use. We went to the Maldives. If you haven't watched that video, I talked extensively about travel rewards and how we used it to stay at the Maldives, just on points, on no cash. We used it to stay at a 5-star Hyatt in Bali, and that was basically one sign-up bonus. So if you sign up for this credit card and you're going to Bali, maybe for a honeymoon, maybe for just a trip, you could stay at this beautiful, beautiful resort on one sign-up bonus. So you meet the minimum spend bonus, you get those points, you transfer them to Hyatt, boom, you're now staying in a 5-star hotel for a week with basically no money out of your pocket, money that you were gonna spend anyway. The Chase Sapphire is absolutely amazing. Not to mention it comes with great benefits like CDW protection for rental cars. It comes with travel insurance in case something goes wrong. It comes with a $50 credit hotel stay. So if you are gonna book a hotel and you do it through the Chase portal, you get $50 off of that hotel. So the benefits are absolutely amazing. You get your money back very quickly. Sign up for this credit card. I'll put a link below. It's phenomenal. All right, last one. And this one goes for absolutely everyone, and I want to save the best for last. But this is a name that you have 100% heard, and that is Google. And I'm not talking about the search engine. Anyone can Google stuff. I'm talking about their ecosystem. Google was absolutely amazing on the road for the things that it offered us. First off, if you haven't downloaded it, download Google Translate when you're gonna go travel and pre-download the language that you need to translate to or from. It was so, so helpful, especially in places like Japan where not a lot of people are gonna speak English once you get outside of the major cities, in communicating with these people about what we wanted to do, where we wanted to go, and also giving them the opportunity to translate and talk back to us. And the fact that you can download it means that you don't need an internet connection. So we were able to do this in remote parts of the country where we didn't have any sort of cell service. The other thing that you can do is use Google Lens. Now this is cool. It basically turns your camera into an immediate translation app. So I could take a photo of a menu, click the translate button, and it would translate the entire menu into English for us, which then I could, pass around the table if we were traveling with friends. The other thing that you can do is you can kind of use it in a live mode. So I could move it across maybe like a poster or something as I was reading, and it would translate as I moved the camera. Google Lens was absolutely phenomenal and probably the most used tool of our entire trip around the world. I used it every single day and it was absolutely fantastic. I don't know what I would do without it. It's amazing. Now there's one last piece for Google, and that is Google Maps. Now a lot of people talk about Maps.me. That's another great option. I highly recommend them, but I'm just so familiar. I use Google Maps in my daily life, so switching over to another map app, if I could avoid it, it was just easier. I could kind of shut off my brain. Now, something that people don't talk about is that you can download offline maps on Google Maps. You just click a couple buttons, you go to a map section, you can draw basically a big square rectangle around the area that you want to download. And for me, I downloaded basically entire countries sometimes. Now, this was great as I was doing walking directions. If we were renting a car, this means I didn't have to rely on service. I didn't have to worry about driving outside of service. I just always had the map at my fingertips. That was so, so beneficial. Definitely leverage the Google Suite. Those are the things that I want to share with you guys today. They're all extremely useful. They're all kind of in different spaces, and they're things that I hope that you consider the next time you travel, whether it's around the world, whether it's for a week. These are all useful tools that should always be in your back pocket. I really want to say thank you for watching. Please do not forget to hit that like and subscribe and be notified about our next video. Maybe it's this Tom Bin Sinek, maybe not, but we'll see you then.